From the Detroit Free Press, it's Wednesday, October 14th. Here are today's top stories, presented by Bush's Fresh Food Market. Bush's has over 4,000 Michigan products, including the freshest fruit and vegetables, meat, seafood, and baked goods. Stop by one of Bush's 16 locations for the personal service you expect from your neighborhood grocer.
I'm Paul Egan reporting for the Detroit Free Press. Federal court hearings began in Grand Rapids Tuesday for 5 of the 6 men charged with conspiring to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. 3 of the men got bond hearings, and bond was denied for all 3. U.S. Magistrate Judge Sally Behrens said she's not so worried that the men who trained with guns in an anti-government group will flee, but she is worried they remain a threat to the community, she said. Prosecutors also released some new details Tuesday. When accused ringleader Adam Fox was arrested on October 7th, he said his idea was to take Whitmer out into the middle of Lake Michigan in a small boat, disable the engine, and just leave her there.
This is Phoebe Wall-Howard, an autos reporter at the Detroit Free Press. The owner of a 2006 F-350 argued for years that Ford Motor Company sold Super Duty trucks with defective diesel engines to thousands of unsuspecting buyers, and then concealed the known problems, saddling customers with repair bills and exposing them to engine failure. Now an appeals court has agreed with Charles Brian Margison, 41, of Torrance, California. He is the first Super Duty truck owner with a 6-liter diesel engine to have a fraud claim against Ford affirmed on appeal. The California Court of Appeal, late September, upheld a lower court's ruling in Margison's favor. 5 other jury awards against Ford in similar cases are pending appeals.
I'm Sloan Terranella with the Detroit Free Press. Alice Lawson can still remember the bombs whizzing over her head 75 years later. It wasn't how she imagined life as a newlywed would be. 95-year-old Lawson grew up during World War II in Liège, Belgium. She spent her teenage years hiding in bomb shelters and working on the Belgian streetcar system. At 21 years old, Lawson found love in an unlikely place, the middle of a war zone. One day, Lawson and her mother were in town after watching a movie in 1945. This is when Lawson met the love of her life, John. Her soon-to-be husband was stationed in Belgium during the war. He saw Alice from across the street and approached her. A few months later, they married. Alice became a war bride and was shipped off to the U.S. to be with her husband. At first, life was hard. Alice and her husband lived in rural Alabama with no plumbing or running water. At one point, they lived in a chicken coop lined with paper. Eventually, the couple moved north to Detroit to find work at the auto factories. In 1950, the Lawsons bought a GI home for $5. 7 children and many grandchildren later, Alice still lives in the same home she bought with her husband. Although times are uncertain now, Alice's advice is to do the best you can with kindness for others and strength for yourself.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Kerry Jr. II, and here are the latest coronavirus numbers. The state reported over 1,200 new cases of the coronavirus and 30 new deaths. 10 deaths were uncovered in review of death certificates. In total, health officials have reported over 137,000 COVID-19 cases and nearly 6,900 deaths statewide. For more information on COVID-19 in Michigan, visit www.freep.com.
I'm Kirkland Crawford with the Free Press Sports Department, and look, just indulge us a bit on this one. The Detroit Lions are coming off a bye week, but another team is coming off trying to figure out how to recover after their quarterback suffered a devastating injury. Perhaps you've seen by now the gruesome ankle injury that Cowboy star Dak Prescott had. He's probably done for the season, and we doubt Andy Dalton inspires much confidence down in Big D. So, what if Dallas comes a-calling about one Matthew Stafford? At 32 years old, Stafford is signed through the 2023 season, and, as Carlos Monarez points out, it could be a perfect fit for the Texas native. But this season has been a slow start for Stafford and, in turn, the Lions. Dave Burkett highlights one factor as to why in this week's film review today in the Free Press.
For more stories from the Detroit Free Press, be sure to check out freep.com. That's FREEP.com. If you're a fan and want to support our quality local journalism, subscribe. Go to freep.com/special offer.